Two more tropical systems could develop, one of those today. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, good to see you again. Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day. Coming up, we're talking about two areas of potential tropical development. One of those could be wrapping up near the Bahamas and the east coast of Florida later on this Thursday. Additional very heavy rain for parts of our area. Just another very active weather day overall. So I tell you what, we'll get started right now. And as we do so, you know I love to hear from you guys. Drop into the comments section below where you're viewing from and what the weather has been like. Let's get into the Invest here, situated about 100 miles or so off of the northeast side of the northern areas of the Bahamas. Looking at the enhanced satellite imagery right now. And again, this is going to be a very weak, small, fast-moving system, but there is the opportunity, and the Hurricane Center has a 40% chance, that's why this area is in orange right now, for this to wrap up into a tropical depression before it brushes the east central northeast coastlines of Florida and then into portions of the Georgia coastline as well. But again, never going to be an extremely impactful system. Now, the winds are freshening for sure. These are the wind gusts that you see live here at Meteo Mundo. We're picking up some lightning here and there as well. But again, at the center of circulation, we're kind of devoid of any true thunderstorm activity and really even wrapping around some clouds on the southern side of that. That's the enhanced satellite imagery. This is the beautiful visible satellite imagery as well. And again, you can see there's a twist, but really it's kind of right back in here in all of the nastiest storms and the heaviest rain are on the northwest side. So pretty lopsided system, but hurricane reconnaissance aircraft are investigating this system. And again, there's the potential to wrap up a tropical depression before this hits the coastline of Florida late tonight, and then as we work our way through Friday morning. As far as the impacts for the Bahamas goes, look, we're going to pull in some moisture. We're going to get some rain. We're obviously going to freshen up the breeze, and then the sea conditions are going to be elevated for the next couple of days with our easterlies. Some really high swells, some double-digit foot swells are expected in the open exposed waters of the Atlantic. But again, very clear to see here on the Viz satellite imagery, you're talking about a really small, fairly weak system. Let's look at the water vapor imagery. And again, what you're looking at here, and I'll just take off very quickly that formation area, is there's certainly a zone of some drier air here. So again, we're never going to elongate this off towards the south. Now, the interesting thing for the northwest Bahamas is there's actually a pool of moisture trying to come up north, and you can see all the thunderstorm activity this afternoon in portions of Cuba as well. So additional rain will be trying to feed in even as that low pulls away there for portions of the central and the northwest Bahamas. Let's take a look at the live radar here at Meteo Mundo. This is out of Melbourne, Florida. You can see that cluster of storms beginning to try and kind of spiral their way inland, especially towards the coastlines of Brevard, Volusia, and Flagler counties here in the eastern side of Florida. Those are the current wind gusts. And again, they're going to be 25, 30 miles an hour. This will push a little bit of water towards the east coast of Florida. Not too concerned about storm surge, but again, there could be some elevated higher tide cycles for the next 24 hours at most, more than likely through tomorrow morning. And then we could get some fast moving showers. Not really too concerned about a lot of rain because this is moving so fast, but certainly you can see these showers extend down. When you get into the northern areas of the Bahamas, and I'll switch over to the Miami radar right now, you can see that we don't really have a lot of rain there. It'll center it up and show you the Keys first, but as I slip over to Grand Bahama and Abaco and Bimini and Nassau and Eleuthera and Andros, not a lot of rain there so far, guys, but more showers are on the way. You can see some of the heavier storm activity through portions of Cuba as well. So again, fast-moving system. Impacts are going to be marginal, and really, I think some of the bigger impacts are just going to be a good steady breeze for the rest of today through tomorrow morning, and really kicking up and elevating those surf and sea conditions. We got some high resolution models to break out here, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's start with the winds first of all. So I'm going to pull on the HRRR model winds. A couple of things here I want to get off of the map so it's a little bit easier to see. Let me take off the satellite data as well. And I tell you what, let's just drop those winds. So now we have the HRRR model high resolution, rapid refresh, that's what it's called. We're gonna look at the winds here over the next 48 hours at the surface, okay? So this is gonna take just 1 second to loop up, and once it does so, we'll look at this. And again, high resolution model, so great imagery to pick up on here. There's the low, again, tracking north and west. Very clear to see here on this high resolution imagery. So let me pause that right at the beginning, and we'll go back to the beginning of this loop. And again, right here as we go through the late afternoon hours. So we can see, again, more wind energy on the northern side, not as much wind south. Whatever broad center is expected should pass right over places like Grand Bahama and Walker's Key, and then ram itself into east central northeast Florida as we go overnight. Bit of a brisk wind for portions of Georgia near Savannah. But again, as far as talking about high intensity winds, no, if you look at your legend up top, we're looking at 20 to maybe 25 knot winds at most. I think we're going to get a breeze along the Florida coast, maybe the far northwest side of the Bahamas, of 25 to 30 miles an hour. The winds may not even warrant a tropical depression, to be quite honest. We may never really have the full winds to do that. Let's take a look at the reflectivity. So now we're going to look at the same model, but this time we're going to take a look at what it's calling for as far as rain goes. And again, you're talking about some pretty small, compact areas here, and then some wider but very weak spiral banding features. Nothing that's going to be concentrated in nature. On the northern side of this, clear to see the spin. So we're just going to be spiraling in some rain through portions of Florida. The interesting thing is this circulation, as it gets towards the Georgia coast, could actually be held up, and we might actually get more rain as we get into the latter part of Saturday as this backs up. And additional moisture, as I mentioned, comes in from the south. Not necessarily or directly correlated with this spin, but in part because of that, and then a surge of moisture coming back in from the greater Antilles. But again, back down into the Bahamas here, let's break this down for you guys. As that invest area potential depression moves up to the north, you'll start to see, again, showers lifting from the south. And the best opportunity for rain will probably be through the daylight hours of tomorrow, and then again on Saturday. Saturday is a question mark right now. The HRRR model is very aggressive, breaking out this rain for the northwest, the central, and even the southeast side of the Bahamas, from Acklands up towards Exuma and all the way up towards Grand Bahama. A pretty widespread shower and thunderstorm chance to go along with this. Let me just loop this up here over the next 48 hours. And again, really clear to see that circulation, it kind of stalls out, and then moisture comes back out from the south. So again, to recap this is a fast-moving, weak system. It is going to kick up the sea conditions. Small craft advisories are in effect. It could bring quick downpours to certain areas, but none of this rain is going to last very long, and we'll have some lashing breezy conditions for the northwest Bahamas and into the east coast of Florida. So these are the impacts. I kind of just spelled it out, but we'll look at it on this graphic. Fast moving showers and downpours, east winds probably averaging 20 to 30 with some higher gusts. There is a small craft advisory for the northwest Bahamas. That's going to be through at least tomorrow for seas running 4 to 6 feet, but you get into those exposed waters of the Atlantic and we could have some swells in the double digits, right around 10 feet. So again, small craft advisory. Small craft should be remaining in port. Now, because this is going to be impacting Florida, if you guys follow me, you know I'm from Florida, and I actually have a second channel. It's called Central Florida Weather Live. I just started this channel last month. It's a live-only channel. When there is weather impacting Central Florida, I come on live and I cover that, and if it's warranted, I'll be on live covering this invest/tropical depression for Florida, and of course, we'll include the Bahamas in that. So if you'd like to support me in another way, you can find my other channel by searching at Central Florida Weather Live, all one word on the YouTube search, or if you go to the About section here of Meteo Mundo, you'll find the link to this channel. Again, I only cover Central Florida weather on that channel, and it's a live-only channel, meaning I don't do forecast videos like this, but I cover the events live as they happen. So if you want to check that out and subscribe, Man, oh man, I would really appreciate that support. Thank you very much. Another big factor, of course, as I mentioned, is going to be the sea conditions. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that as well across the Bahamas and all of the Caribbean. You can see those greens pushing in the next 48 hours from the northwest Bahamas to the east coast of Florida. Again, that's 7-8 foot waves, but some higher swells. Obviously, on the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, we have some fresh winds out there right now. What's left over of Alberto, which is now a tropical depression, and we'll highlight that coming up, and still a ton of wind energy coming in from the East Pacific. There's going to be some fresh breezes over the Caribbean as well. You can see those waves begin to pick up as we move through the weekend across the Lesser Antilles and over towards the ABC Islands as well. Okay, so now let's break down what's happening here and now on this Thursday. Then, of course, we'll get into your forecast and talk about this area of potential tropical development. As we're doing so, if you haven't hit the like button yet on the video, thank you so much for doing that. If you haven't subscribed yet to Meteo Mundo, thank you for subscribing as well. So what is left over of Alberto? It is a tropical depression at the hour, moving deeper inland to North Mexico, still bringing some exceptionally heavy rain, and flooding rains and landslide and mudslides are all a potential issue for the northern side of Mexico as it runs into the higher terrain. South Texas is still getting a few scattered showers from Corpus Christi south towards Harlingen. Still some fresh breeze along the northwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, but the impacts for the most part are said and done for Texas and Louisiana. It is southwest Mexico still getting it. Now, of course, on the heels of this, and I'll have more on this coming up, we have another spin over Belize right now and the northern side of Honduras that could slip into the southwest Gulf of Mexico over the weekend and become, again, a depression or even a tropical storm. But we'll talk about that coming up. But again, the Central American gyre is such a broad spin. Again, gyre because it's developed and it hasn't moved like we would see in the oceans, the ocean gyres that we talk about. This broad spin continues to percolate a ton of moisture every day, showers and storms, very heavy rain, and the opportunity to spin up some tropical systems. And again, this overall pattern not changing anytime soon. So let's start off with what's happening island by island on this Thursday. We're getting some quick moving showers and storms here for my friends across Jamaica. Decent downpours. Let me know in the comments section below if you've seen some of them. You can see these lightning strikes racing across the northern side of the island, Ocho Rios, maybe as far north as Maypen, but Port Antonio there, on over towards Portland Parish and Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, certainly on over towards Montego Bay, Westmoreland, and Hanover. So again, we continue with the opportunity for showers and storms each and every day across the island. More moisture trying to lift up to the north as well, and very rough sea conditions on the southern side of Jamaica, so keep that in mind for any mariners. Good storms over portions of the Cayman Islands as well. This lightning at the hour is actually moving up to the north and to the west, and there's another feature I want to highlight here, okay? This is just something that I picked up on in the analysis. Do you see this cyclonic spin right over Cuba? Look at the storms it's fired up over the island, over the Straits of Florida, and then back over towards the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. It's another smaller spin or perturbation within the larger Central American gyre. And again, it just takes all the tropical moisture and lifts it up into the atmosphere, makes it a very wet day. Now, we still have some decent rain for Hispaniola. Again, we'll talk about the Saharan dust moving in, and that is going to be a factor to suppress some of the rain chances here, but at the hour, showers and storms continue to develop through portions of the island. It's going to be scattered in nature, but heavier downpours. And again, if you look at the top of your screen, that's the live lightning count in this view in just the last 15 minutes. So love to talk about the here and now on Meteo Mundo. Have all these great tools to kind of break down what's happening now, and then we get into the forecast for Puerto Rico and my friends in the Virgin Islands. Again, scattered showers continuing. Look, so many of you have talked about, we've been really harping on the rain, but a lot of you have said, Rusty, I need that rain because if it's not, it's 105, 110 degree feels like temperatures, and it's really rough out there when we don't get the showers. Well, we're going to get some more downpours here, but again, more scattered in nature. And we will begin to dry out in this area starting tomorrow, at least for a few days. It's a little bit drier for our friends across the Lesser Antilles today overall. Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, Ceiba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbuda and Antigua, Montserrat, an isolated passing shower towards St. Bartholomew. But again, as far as any real rain for today, it's pretty much not on the board, which means it's a hot one. Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique. As a matter of fact, because I've mentioned, hey, it's a hot one, and we can look at these live areas. Those are your temperatures. Those are feels like temperatures now, which again are going to be at or above 100 degrees in some spots. So pretty rough afternoon, pretty stinking hot there in St. Lucia, Barbados, where we have the cricket tournament still going on there. Not bad weather, fairly fair there. And then we do run into a little bit of moisture back down towards Trinidad and Tobago, and potentially as far north as Grenada, an opportunity for a passing shower. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you're going to stay dry. And again, the reason why is we still have an active intertropical convergence zone. There's still plenty of tropical waves that are lining up on the train tracks and will be moving in. But a couple of notes of that. First of all, they're still low in latitude. Okay, so a lot of the moisture is slamming into South America. And two, do you see this area is devoid of any cloud coverage? That's the Saharan dust plumes coming in that is going to suppress those tropical waves and the impacts that they're going to bring. We'll talk more about that coming up. For my friends in the ABC Islands, have you guys gotten any rain? I've been watching, and there's at least been some cloud coverage today and a quick passing shower, but drop it in the comment section below and let me know. A lot of that moisture is tantalizingly close. This is an area that's been very, very dry. We could use some more rain for the ABC Islands. Big flare-up of thunderstorms in the southwest side of the Caribbean, on the eastern side of that gyre. And again, we extend this heavier rain into the Yucatan and the rest of Central America. Additional heavier rain today for places like Belize City and San Pedro. Again, from time to time, it's not an all-day rain. We've had some scattered showers and storms, Cancun and Cozumel. Again, good lightning strikes with this, so it's not just the tropical downpours. These are coming down with some lightning as well, right over the Roatan area, La Chiba, San Pedro Sula there on the northern sides of Honduras. But relatively speaking, overall, it's going to be another wet afternoon across this area. And again, this spin up, and we can really clearly see, as a matter of fact, let me show you the visible satellite imagery as well. You can see those higher cloud tops right there, just bright white cloud tops. That is going to bring some heavy rain to coastal Belize and Guatemala and Honduras. Then it's going to move across into the Yucatan and emerge into the southwest Gulf of Mexico. And that's the next potential development area. I mentioned the Saharan dust. Look at these plumes coming in, guys, especially for the Leeward Islands and really the Greater Antilles as well. This is going to have some impacts. This is the next 10 days. Those brighter colors, those fuchsias, those pinks and purples and oranges, that's the higher concentration of dust. There are several plumes that are forecast to come in between now and the end of the month. And you can see that they kind of repetitively go over the Leeward Islands. This is why this area won't really see a lot of that tropical moisture coming in from those tropical waves. Now, we could back build some of the moisture in from the Central American gyre, especially into Hispaniola and Jamaica and Cuba and the Turks and Caicos. But as far as the Leeward Islands go, that is one area that's going to be a little bit dry. Now, still some passing showers, but concentrations of rain, no, I don't believe that's going to happen here with that dust. That's going to be a major factor, really, over the next 7 to 10 days. Okay, now we're going to get into the models. We're going to start off here with our GFS over the next 5 days reflectivity. As I am setting that up, again, if you haven't hit the like button yet, I appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed and you're getting something out of this video, do so. By the way, I can't stress enough how just liking this video really helps me out. I mean, if you're getting anything out of this video, you want to do me a solid, click that like button right now. And again, tell your family and friends about the channel as well. So let's break down the GFS model. Now, we've already really dealt with what's going to be happening with that invest. I mentioned the moisture coming in from the south, and this is going to be a bigger story. Generally speaking, this next plume of moisture coming from the south is actually going to have more impacts across the Bahamas, especially the central and the southeast Bahamas, than this invest area. It's a much more broad area of rain, and you can see those showers and storms moving up through the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. And again, after a little bit drier period over Hispaniola, we'll start to see more moisture roll its way back into that area as well. So I just wanted to mention this first, that again, it's going to get wetter in portions of the Bahamas late weekend, early next week, as this surge of moisture comes over Cuba and then into that area. Now, Bermuda stays relatively dry. We could start to be talking about more rain in Bermuda late next week, but at this point in time, they're kind of enjoying more tranquil weather there. Showers and storms that you would imagine continue in the northwest side of the Caribbean here for my friends in the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Look, again, tropical downpours, just a relatively high chance each day. That'll be concentrated in areas. You're not going to get it every day, but the chance is there every afternoon. At this point in time, we've kind of avoided any of the major flood issues here, but that opportunity will exist as well as those downpours continue to settle in. Now, you get a little bit farther off towards the east, still as far north as Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, we're going to get some decent rain chances. It's going to tail off a bit starting tomorrow over the weekend, but we might see those chances ramp back up again. This is more kind of the scattered in nature variety for San Juan and St. Croix and St. Thomas and St. John and Arecibo and Mayaguez and even Roadtown there in the British Virgin Islands. Then the Leeward Islands, again, maybe the far north side is a little bit more moisture rich, but just overall for Anguilla and St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat South, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Barbados, there's not a ton of rain, guys. It's about a 20% chance each day. Next tropical wave coming in, again, is moving off towards the south. It could slip and bring a few more showers to Trinidad and Tobago. And we see there as we get into, let's see, this is going to be, I believe, Saturday and into Sunday. Maybe we clip Barbados, late Sunday and then into Monday with a few more showers. But that's about as far north as the next tropical wave really has more apparent impacts. ABC Islands, again, it's like, it's like you're the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? You never get the rain to move directly over your area. The fresh trade winds will continue. A lot of moisture around you, but again, limited opportunities there. And then here is our Central American gyre and just continuing to pump in so much ample rainfall in this area. Now, I'll break down even more graphically with what's happening in the Southwest Gulf, but because we have the reflectivity up here, let's talk about this. If we're going to get a spin up coming from this system, it's more than likely going to happen Saturday or early Sunday, and it's going to be in the really far southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. This should be a smaller system. This should be impacting lesser of an area. Notice that quickly dives into North Mexico. So for our viewers in Texas, the next system I'll be monitoring here for the weekend ahead should have lesser of an impact than Alberto did. One, because more than likely it's going to be weaker, but two, it's going to be a little bit more compact. Doesn't mean we're not going to have some fresh winds in the northwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, but again, relatively speaking, I'm not expecting there to be as major of an impacts. Heavier rain, continuing widespread showers, Cancun, Cozumel, Belize City. Now, as this moisture pulls away, there's an opportunity for a very brief snippet here. You can see that at the end of the loop, that there could be a respite for the rain for portions of the Yucatan and the Central America area, just for a brief time, because we spin that moisture away. We get a little bit drier air in the short term, but I promise you it's not a long-term solution. We're right back to more showers as soon as that low pulls away. So let's break down the rain chance for you here, island by island. Northwest Bahamas, again, decent chance for showers today, but they're fast moving. Better chance on Friday. I might have to up this number on Saturday. Again, it's something I'm going to be monitoring, that surge of moisture to the south. Certainly, I think the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos have better rain chances on Saturday, but those numbers right now may be a bit too low. Cuba's rain chances remain high. Again, the Cayman Islands, it's better than a 50-50 chance across the islands each day. And again, Belize City, Cancun, and Cozumel, for now, still keeping the very, very high rain chances. Maybe Sunday, Monday, I can undercut those a little bit. But again, still some locally heavy rainfall expected there. Jamaica's rain chances stay on the higher side as well. 60% chance for Friday and Saturday. Dominican Republic, it's a little bit of a lull in the activity. And then starting again Sunday or Monday, rain chances come back up. And Puerto Rico will start to see their rain chances tail off a bit for the weekend as well. It's isolated showers from the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands, and then even drier for places like Bermuda. And then as we head through the Lesser Antilles, Anguilla, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, Dominica, Martinique, Barbados, all generally around a 20% chance for showers. Slightly better chance in Trinidad and Tobago, but only a 30% chance there. Guyana, a few more showers coming in, especially with the next tropical wave. And expect your rain chances to go up beginning late in the week, late in the weekend, early next week. And again, the ABC Islands, maybe I'm too generous at a 30% chance, but I got my fingers crossed. There's some moisture in there, so we have to at least talk about the opportunity for a few more showers. Okay, back over to the broad perspective here, and we're going to get into the tropical outlook of things. So let's extend our model out a few more days here. I'm going to take it out to, let's say, the 28th. That's probably good. We'll look at the reflectivity first, and then the better thing that we're going to look at, the more apparent, is going to be the wind fields. A little bit easier to see things wrapping up as far as that goes. But looking at the rain, and again, for the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, it's got to happen basically in a pretty narrow 24 to 36 hour window. This is Saturday and into Sunday, and then it's gone. It's well into Mexico after that. So again, not a big opportunity there. And the Hurricane Center has actually shifted that area a little bit southwest to account for the fact that it might be real deep in the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. Interesting feature, as I mentioned here, coming out of the Greater Antilles, slipping through the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, maybe getting up towards Bermuda. So that's why I mentioned later in the week, we'll be monitoring that. It looks to open up rather than wrap up, but still could be an elongated system driving into that area as well. And as far as tropical development in the Eastern Caribbean, I don't expect that to happen over the next 7 to 10 days. We can now look at the wind fields. This is going to be your surface winds on the GFS model. I'll show you the NAM model coming up as well. And again, might take just 1 second for this to completely load up here. But when we look at this, and I'll take off the, let's take off the formation zones because it's just a little bit easier to see. And we'll get into this here. So in the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, again, here comes that right there. By the way, fresh winds for the Yucatan as this thing tries to wrap up in that 25 to 30 plus mile an hour range. So here we go. Here's your Saturday. There's the brief, oops, sorry about that, guys. Let me get back to where we were. This is Saturday. There is your brief wrap up right there. Not much, right? Doesn't look as much. There's a narrow window before that slides into North Mexico. Could be our next depression. Could be our next tropical storm. It's barrel if it is, but we've got a very small window of opportunity to get that to go. But notice through the Northwest Bahamas, Northwest Caribbean, extremely strong winds just basically racing across the Yucatan and feeding into that center of circulation. We've already talked about what's happening here with this small invest, which again could be a depression. And then this is the next area that I mentioned coming out of the Greater Antilles. You'll see it right here, kind of crop up right over the Turks and Caicos, and then drive towards Bermuda. And that could be some fresh breeze, but I don't see a lot of twist with that, but certainly some wind energy. Another interesting area I picked out here with the second tropical wave next week. So not the one that enters the picture early in the week, but the second one you can see right along the South American coast. There's a bit of a wind spin up there, but overall it just kind of elongates itself. And then you just have a heck of a lot of wind through the Caribbean the remainder of the week. Just really fresh winds here. It's going to keep the seas elevated. Obviously, it's going to drive in more moisture. I mean, we'll be suppressed a bit by some of that plumes of Saharan dust, where there's still ample amounts of moisture here out west to provide additional rain chances as well. So that's kind of the overall view. Once we see this one go away, we'll be watching this area, but generally speaking, things might quiet down for the next week. But when you have that Central American gyre that's in play, and I'll just bring you back to the live shot here. When you have this in play, there's always an opportunity, just like we've seen, to have these smaller spin-ups happen. Again, that one right there piques my interest a little bit as well. How about rain? Let's look at that. A lot of rain, a lot of red. These are in millimeters, by the way, guys. So now you're looking at 75, 100, 150 millimeters of rain. Absolutely, basically for all of Central America. 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. You notice there's a little bit more rain down towards Trinidad and Tobago. It's a little bit drier for Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Again, scattered showers over Jamaica. Slightly higher rain up towards Grand Bahama, and then a little bit more scattered in nature for the central and the southeast sides of the Bahamas. In some ways, the European model could be underdoing some of this rain, but again, it's just a lot of widespread heavy downpours for Central America, the Yucatan, portions of Mexico, Cuba, all getting on the act. And you're looking again at just the next 7 days. So you could get 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain in your area here in quite a short amount of time. Friends, you can follow us through all of social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Remember, Central Florida Weather Live. If you want to check in with some of the live conditions in Florida when we have storms developing, I'll be on that channel for Central Florida. Thank you so much again for liking this video and subscribing. You have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll be back on tomorrow with all the latest across the Caribbean and the Bahamas for you right here at Meteo Mundo.